People, Deluded, I'm back again. I hope you're all well and safe and you're all doing well and safe. Just checking all the lights are on. Yeah, people, we've come a long way in terms of YouTube. We're not all the way there. You're staring at a boring green screen, and actually with working from home, I've been watching a lot more videos of what I can do with that. Not ready to bring you lot out my poor improvements yet, but we'll get there. But yeah, man, we've got nothing to speak about really and truly. You know me, I hate doing the transfer videos and all of these things, people. It's just, I'll do it because you lot like it, but I don't really like it. But I want to speak about a player. Can't say his last name, so we're going to call him Mounir. He plays for Dijon. He come through Lens's academy. I believe they... Oh, sorry, people. We're working from home, so my work emails are on, people. Let me turn that down. Apologies. Like I said, this guy, Mounir, he plays for Dijon. I like him a lot. I never saw him prior to this season, and he's caught my eye playing in Liga this season. I believe he was bought from Lens last summer. I could be wrong, for around 3.5 million. He's being linked with Napoli and Seville already. He can play on the left wing. He's right-footed, and I don't think he's both-footed, but one thing, it took me a while to clock he was right-footed, you know, because he's comfortable taking a man down the left-hand side. He loves to cut in, and he plays with his head up, people. His end product can improve, but he's very cold and decisive in there. I mean, you look at the two, he scored against PSG this season, but he scored 2 goals against Bordeaux. The second goal, please go and look at the highlights. The second goal was a lovely finish from him, people. I like him. For a young player, he's calculated. He plays with his head up. His movement is intelligent. Defensively, he puts in a lot of defensive contributions as well. He's not no robust or mad tackler, but he doesn't mind tracking back and putting it in for the cause. And definitely playing in the Premier League, it's all fun and games going forward. You have to be able to go back, really and truly, people. I've got a lot of time for him. He's got good balance. He plays with a lot of composure. He's 21 years of age. Again, when a player always comes through Lens's academy, it always gets my attention because it's a terrific academy that has a proven track record of not just developing players, but technically gifted young players. He's 21, so it's now the time for him to, you know, improve and make some headwinds and stuff. He's good 1v1, and he's a good passer. I really like him. He's a strong dribbler as well, if I haven't said that. Statistically, I ain't got them to hand, but I'm pretty sure he must be up there in Liga for dribbling or completing dribbles and all of these things. Not that it means anything. I'm just trying to paint the picture for you guys. His name is in the thingy, obviously, so please do your own research. And I'm not saying Arsenal must buy him and these things. He's just simply someone that's caught my eye, someone I think could contribute to the squad, someone I think could complement the side well. And considering they bought him for 3.5 million, I'm sure they'd like to make a handsome profit, but it won't be the biggest of fees or with staggered payments or something. And he's 21, so there's scope for development there. Obviously, I'm not saying we must buy him. I'm saying he's got my attention, and I'm going to look at him as much as I can when football does return. And actually, during the break, try and see what old footage I can find of him and whatnot, people. Away from that, though, and it's irrelevant to us. And again, you have to take what Mundo Deportivo say, the Spanish publication, with a pinch of salt. But they have said Barcelona sports chief Eric Abidal has lost confidence in Firpo, who he doesn't believe can handle the intensity of being a Barcelona player. And they also allegedly want to sell Semedo. Now, Semedo is of great attention to me because I think he's one of the most underrated fullbacks in the game. We'll get on to Bellerin, but there was talk of Bellerin. Do you remember Bellerin moving a couple of years ago? And they actually allegedly wanted to give us Semedo, or that's what the paper said. I was fully on that, man. I think Semedo's a calm guy, really and truly. You know, Bellerin, we've actually got a decision to make in a year or two, because you could get I can't say his name, Mounir. You don't know the PSG Belgium international lad. You could potentially get him on a free transfer. Not that he would sign for Arsenal. You could try and get Semedo. He's linked with PSG, so we don't really have a chance. But I really like Semedo, and if they are trying to sell him, I would be open to trying to see if we can do a deal. I know Suarez has come on loan, and he probably will sign permanently. I know we've got Bellerin, but decisions have to be made. Moving on to Bellerin, you lot know me, I'm a fan of Bellerin. He's via Barcelona, but homegrown. I wouldn't say I can necessarily identify with Hector Bellerin, but I'm turning 25 next month. He's turned 25 today. Happy birthday. He's a young player. I like how it's irrelevant from his football. He talks on, you know, causes and things like that. He obviously is a big fashion person and someone that does all of that urban culture stuff that people can identify with. And he's doing the YouTube stuff as well here and there. So he's a very good speaker. He's someone people can identify with. I like Bellerin, man. When you come from Haylen's academy, well, not Haylen, but you come out of Arsenal's academy via Barca, I'm always going to back you. The problem with Bellerin, I know he's had injuries. Actually, since he's come back, he's had some good games, some shaky games, but he's had injuries. The problem for me is he's not kicking on. I'm not saying he needs to be... I would love him to be world-class, best fullback in the world, best fullback in the Prem, which Arsenal fans were carrying on with, best right-back in the Prem at a time. Would love that. For me, I just want to see him kick on and first and foremost be a reliable defender. Because defensively he's improved, but is he 100% convincing defensively? Has he significantly improved in the last couple of years? You would say no. I know there's been injuries and people will talk of his diet. I think that's quite disrespectful because, it's his life choice with the vegan thing. If we showed every Premier... What would people say? I don't think Messi is, but if Messi was a vegan, would you say all of this nonsense? I'm not going to get into that. But in terms of end product, we know we need a right back and left back who are dynamic, who are, good going forward. Bellerin should be the best at that in this team. On the left-hand side, you'd say Kolasinac is better going forward and gives us a bit more than him. Saka definitely. Tierney's had a torrid time with injuries, but you've seen Tierney can do his thing. At right back, Maitland-Niles, for all his things, gives me more confidence really going forward. And I think if Maitland-Niles accepted the right back thing and fixed up his attitude, he could nail that spot down, and he's letting an opportunity go by really and truly. So I don't think he's that sort of right wing back, that that dynamic guy getting us assists and things. Like, I'm not saying you have to be Trent Arnold, but you look at Trent Alexander-Arnold, he's doing what we want to see from Bellerin. Obviously I'm not talking about free kicks, but a danger in the final third with the modern fullback. I think Bellerin's can do it, but I don't think it's of the standard really and truly. And obviously he's had injuries, but I'm really looking at the right hand side, especially next season or when this season resumes, because it doesn't matter what combinations on the left hand side, whether it's Saka and Martinelli, Aubameyang, whatever goes on there, Kolasinac and Tierney, we're left hand centric, and we do our thing down that side. We know we've got Pepe adjusting, Nelson's had some injuries, Bellerin's had injuries, Socrates been right back, Mustafi, Maitland. There's been, a madness at right back. But I'm looking at that hand side next season because I want to see us. I don't truly believe Arsenal is a consistent threat down the right hand side. And Bellerin's 25 now. You can't go on about how he should be better than he... For him, he shouldn't go on about how he should be better. He has to accept it. He has to accept all the good things he's had in his career. He's won a couple of FA Cups. He's become a first-team player at Arsenal, justifying his move here. He's come a long way in the 9 or so years, arriving at 16 or whatever, and now 25. He's grown up as a man away from football. He must have 100 appearances or more for the club now, so he's made himself significant here to a degree. But for me, he needs to accept the good what's happened in the past and also the things he can't change and the injuries and the criticisms and inconsistencies. He has to accept it and start a new beginning. He has to say, I'm 25 now. Carvajal's getting on a bit. Do I want to get in the Spain squad? What do I have to do to get in the Spain squad? Do you hear the Spanish bosses looking at him? I can't understand why, because much I like Bellerin, you shouldn't touch him with a barge pole. He's not of the form to go to Euros or whatever. Obviously, there's grace for him because it's been suspended by a year. But that's what he should look to. I'm 25 now. My contract is up in 2022, allegedly. So we need to revisit this situation. I mean, we could be in a situation where we're looking back and thinking, wait, someone really bidded 50 million for Bellerin. We should have shot it that, Because he's again, I wouldn't say he's playing for a future, because again, he's someone you can look at. He's been at Arsenal for a significant period. He's a first team player. I think Arteta likes him. Obviously, I want to see how he improves under Arteta when fully fit and over his injuries. But he could be someone you move on because he's 25 now. For him, he should be looking at it. I accept what's happened in my career. I'm 25 now. I want to be Arsenal captain, if not the captain. When you think of Arsenal and you think of Leno, Aubameyang and all these players, you think of me as well. I want to be a reliable defender, a pillar of this defence, a hallmark of this defence. I want to go down in Arsenal history. I want to get in the Spain squad. I think he's comfortable in London, and he's a Londoner in all but whatever. But I'm sure he must have a desire to one day return to Barcelona or experience the Spanish league in some capacity. Look at Trippier. He's at Atletico. I'm sure he wants to experience playing in La Liga. You got Atletico, you got Madrid, you got Barca, you got all these teams. They're only going to pay attention if you're playing how you was a couple of years ago. Because I'm still stuck up on. I remember when Bellerin, the first 2 seasons Bellerin came, he was a different player, man. I mean, even the game he gets bantered for, where I swear we beat Bayern Munich. First half he got terrorised by Costa, but he patterned up. There was a time I genuinely believe Bellerin was like another winger. Maybe it's the boots, Carl. He was wearing vapors them times and he had short hair. Now I'm playing people, but you know, he's just not regret. He's just, and I'm not trying to be devil's advocate or anything, but I do think, as much as I like Hector Bellerin, if his name was, you know, what's some more Boggs? If he was Hector Bellerin, but it was Joe Bloggs, born, come through the academy, a Londoner, or he was bought from, I don't know, Sheffield United as a kid and he was here, I do think there'll be more scrutiny on Bellerin and whatnot. Now I say that Bellerin is a player consistently scapegoated rightly or wrongly, sorry people. So he does have my sympathy. But considering that he's 25 now, he really needs to kick on. He's got what? He's got 2 big contracts left, because 25, you're contracted until 2022. That will probably, you know, we'll probably look to renew your deal now. Maybe at 30 you get a 30 or later 20s you get another deal. But you know, if I'm looking at it, you want to look at Bellerin in terms of giving him a new deal because of resale value, because of his stature in the team. But really, would you really, I don't know his wages, but would you really want to extend Bellerin's contract and give him more money and all of these sort of things? Is he playing like that? Is it something where you could think, boy, you know, if someone comes in with a 40, 50 million and we can buy a right back for 15 or so, why not? Because I genuinely believe, you see right backs and left backs and stuff, no disrespect, because I was one, failed winger like the rest of them, but I genuinely believe you can make these things come out of your academy. You can go and grab one for 10, 15 million or somewhere else. Scouts do your job. Fair enough with strikers, it's a bit more delicate. But you see centre-halves and right-backs, I genuinely believe scouts like, come on man, you lot got mad profiles and things like that. You should be able to pattern up something. But we're spending a long time on Bellerin. During the Corona break, people, I also took some time to update myself on Saliba. And I believe it was a game against Brett's where he kind of struggled, people. I'm not going to lie. He got terrorised by that striker who scored 2 goals. One of the goals, none of the goals were his fault, but just by looking at the defensive phase of plays, he wasn't always aware of the runners. There was one goal which Mvila lost the ball high up the field. I don't think it was, it could have been Rennes. It was either Brest or Rennes. I can't remember who they played, people. But either way, it might have been Rennes, because Mvila don't play for Brest. It was Rennes. It must have been. But either way, Mvila lost the ball high up the field. But Mvila plays for Saint Etienne. I'm bugging out, people. Do you know what I always see? When I think of Mvila, I always think of him in an Arsenal kit because he was always linked with us, or in a red kit. He's played for someone in the. I'm thinking of him in the Sunderland kit. But either way, yeah. For apologies, people. Against Brest, Mvila lost. It weren't Rennes. Saliba lost. Mvila lost the ball high up the field, people, and Saliba tracked well, but there weren't enough conviction in his tackle and things. And these are the little things he's going to have to improve at. I am very confident in Saliba's abilities based on what I've watched him. The only time I've seen him make mistakes, obviously in the cup, and he's conceded a penalty, and against Bordeaux he wasn't switched on, and I think against the 24-year-old Diallo, who's very experienced in my book. That's the only game I've seen him really terrorised by a striker. And Diallo probably gets a move from Metz because I think he's in double figures in Liga so far as well, prior to obviously the breaks of everyone. So he's a decent player. Moving away from that, you've also seen Santi Cazorla apparently wants to keep playing for 2 years, but is open to returning to Arsenal as a coach. And also we've previously heard how we're trying to do something around potentially giving him a testimonial and also doing something for Arsene Wenger. And I believe Balaguer, during a Q&A on his own YouTube channel, he said basically what may happen, he wants 2 more years playing, 2 more years, and then going back to Arsenal with Arteta is something I think he'd consider as a coach. I asked him about it. He said yes, he'll consider it as a coach when he retires, but he wants to play for 2 more years. I tell you what, Mikel Arteta and Cazorla together, really good friends first of all, but really good special minds of football. And Santi has a lot to offer. I mean, he's played in a number of positions. He's played in the Premier League. He's played for his countries and won a Euros. There is something he could teach. Like, I would love him to be around centre midfielders at our club. Imagine, you know, you look at Miguel Aziz and Charlie Patino and the stars we want of tomorrow. Santi could work with them, because a key thing about being a centre mid is anticipation and positioning. Also body angles, which literally means how does your body look when you're receiving a pass? Doing things in less passes. There's very few midfielders that can tell a man how to do that better than Santi Cazorla. I'm sure I saw months ago when he was speaking generally about becoming a coach, he said that he more prefers being a director of football or something along them lines. I could be wrong. Obviously, people can change and he has to consider everything. But I think Santi's got a lot to offer, and we'd always want to make a way for a former player, especially someone who I wouldn't say he's an Arsenal legend, but definitely in terms of being a serviceman and stuff, he definitely should have more of an icon status than he currently has, man. You look at all the moments we've pulled through as a team, 9 times out of 10, Santi's done it, man. And he was actually a terrific signing, man. Very underrated player. I could wax lyrical about Santi Cazorla. Lovely to see he's still playing. Well, and prior to the break, was still playing for Villarreal. And there was even talk of going to the Euros, which, considering they were saying cutting his leg off, let alone play football again, it's come a long way. And the one thing that's never changed in his journey is that smile, man. I mean, if you don't like Santi Cazorla, you really have a problem as a person, really and truly. How can you not like Santi? Moving on and keeping up with the theme of Spaniards, our former boss, which is irrelevant to this, Unai Emery, I've seen reports online that he's been offered a return to football via Italy. We previously understand that he was of interest to Everton and he wasn't on it. But he's been linked with Florentina, people. Now, again, we don't know the capacity. I assume he's just on a short list. But Emery's made no secret of his desire to return to management as quickly as possible. He hasn't ruled out the Premier League. Where he'll go, I don't know. And as a person, I know it didn't work out for Emery, but you always want him to do well. I know he went about things in a weird way at times, but you know, I always think he acted with integrity. Always think he handled himself with the best interests of this club. And, you know, we've got to remember we didn't agree with it, but he, in his own warped way, he wanted the best for us. So, I guess on that note, I've got nothing more to add, people. I'm just going to simply get out of here. People, deluded. It's always a pleasure. I'm out.